You're listening to the Greeks Gridiron, live with Ethan Haristodoulou.
Good morning, everybody. Welcome back to the Greeks Gridiron. I am Ethan Haristodoulou. We are getting up early today. First game of the day starts at 9:30 a.m. Eastern Time. We got the Jets and Falcons kicking things off in London today. Super early start to the week, coming off of what was a pretty surprising game on Thursday night between the Rams and the Seahawks. Russell Wilson going down with an injury that has taken him out for the foreseeable future. It looks like at least 6 to 8 weeks, potentially even more time, maybe a little bit less, depending on how speedy his recovery is. But Seattle coming out with an injured quarterback. Matt Stafford popped his finger back in a game that I expected to have 60 some odd plus points scored in the game. Didn't even cross the 45 threshold, I think. So pretty interesting start to the week, and then an interesting start to today with the early game in London. Now, as we always do, games to watch, bold predictions, game picks. Let's get things rolling, shall we? As always, remember, comment, share, sub, and all that good stuff. Discuss with me. Let me know what you guys think about this week's games. What are you excited for? Who you think is going to win this week? What about your bold predictions? Let me know. So we'll start things off. We'll just talk a little bit about just the early window and kind of the games I'm looking at. There's really not a ton in the early window, in my opinion. The couple of games kind of piqued my interest, more so one than the other. But the first one that I have pegged, that Green Bay Packers and Cincinnati Bengals game. I think this is going to be a good one. There is a strong opportunity here for Joe Burrow and his Bengals to upset the Packers. Jair Alexander is out for the game. He's on IR now for at least 3 weeks due to an injury. This is a big test for the Bengals, and I think, the offensive firepower of the Packers, the Bengals, who are showing that they do have some offensive firepower themselves, turns this game into what maybe when it was first presented on the schedule, not a big one, but has now turned into something where you have a 3-1 team versus a 3-1 team and an AFC versus NFC showdown, one that I'm pretty excited for. The second one that I have paired with it in that early window there is the Broncos and Steelers game. I don't know if I'm too excited about it. More so, it just has a lot of questions going into the game that we need answers for. Is Ben Roethlisberger really done? I mean, he has been struggling the first 4 weeks of the season. A lot of people are curious about that pec injury he's dealing with, as am I myself. And then you have the Broncos, who are coming off a tough loss after starting out 3-0, losing to the Ravens this past week. Ton of injuries going into that game. Teddy Bridgewater was concussed. He should be able to play from what it sounds like. I don't necessarily know. I am recording this the night before, so unless something changes going into Sunday's game, I think he's potentially going to play. But if all goes well, we're looking at Bridgewater versus Big Ben, two pretty good defenses going up against each other. A Steelers defense that's suffering a little bit because of how poor the offense is on the other side of the football. So I think more questions than anything going into this one, hence why I have it pegged on here. Now, for the midday games, this is where the stuff really starts to get interesting. The midday games are looking good. That Browns and Chargers game, man, I cannot stress this enough. I think it is going to be a high-scoring affair. I do have a little bit of a question as to how that rotator cuff is affecting Baker Mayfield, but both of these teams have powerful offenses. They have great defenses. There's a lot to like about this one. This is this has AFC playoffs in mind when you look at this game, potentially seeding kind of stuff involved. So a lot to look forward to in that first game there. Then we have the Giants and the Cowboys. I think this one has a really neat storyline because if you don't remember, last year, week 5 against the Giants is when Dak Prescott went down with that gruesome leg injury. So the first time he's facing off with the Giants since he had that injury. I think this is probably a special game to him. It probably means a little bit more than it does to everybody else just because he's going up against a team that he went down against last season. And then on top of that, the 49ers at Cardinals. We have just been getting a host of NFC West matchups the last couple of weeks. We had the games last week, and then we started out the week with that Thursday night game, and now here we go with the rest of the NFC West, 49ers, Cardinals. Trey Lance is getting his first start. Cardinals are 4-0. Can they potentially move to 5? Kyler Murray's playing at an absolute MVP level. A lot to like about that midday slate of games, and you can't really go wrong with whatever one it is you end up watching. I got Sunday ticket, so I'm going to be watching all 4 games that are going on through the midday. These 3 especially. I think the midday games are really set up well this week, as have a lot of the last few weeks. I think that the midday games have really hit the mark, especially the last 2 or 3 weeks specifically. Then Rolling into the big one, we've been hearing a lot of conversation about it. I'm excited about it. I'm sure a lot of you are excited about it. Some of you might even be tired of hearing about it because it was the AFC Championship game last year. We got the Bills visiting the Chiefs in Kansas City in what I think is going to be a very high-scoring affair, or it's going to end up being the Kansas City Chiefs struggling against a Bills defense that has dropped 2 goose eggs to their opponents the last 2 out of 3 weeks. The Bills defense has looked great against the poor teams that they played against. They looked solid against the better teams that they played against. It's funny because week 1 happened and the Bills were barely able to put up anything offensively. And since then, man, they have just been throwing bombs on the people that they're playing against. I mean, they haven't scored less than 35 the last 3 weeks. 2 out of those 3 weeks were 40-plus pointers. I mean, you want to talk about beating down on the teams you're supposed to beat down on. The Bills are just like showing absolute no mercy, taking that loss to the Steelers earlier in the season in week 1 personally, and just kind of running through everybody since then. So I'm excited for this one. I think it's going to be a really good game. It's an awesome Sunday night matchup, obviously, and this definitely has playoff implications involved. You have 2 of what a lot of people consider the better teams in the AFC. The Chiefs obviously stumbling out of the gates a little bit, hopefully catching their footing in this game, I guess. But I think the Bills, man, if that defense is able to hold up, I don't know about that Chiefs defense. It's been struggling. They've been letting a lot of points be put up against them, yards be put up against them, teams that probably shouldn't be putting as much up against them as they have been. So a very curious game. We'll talk about predictions, but I'm really looking forward to that one. And then the Monday night game, I don't have that listed as a game to watch, and I'm a Colts fan, but to be honest, the Colts have been struggling this year. The Ravens, I think, are going to have a pretty good game against that one. So if you're wondering why I don't have the Monday night game on this games to watch list, because I'm not too excited about the game as a Colts fan, if I'm being completely honest with you guys. Now, those are my games to watch. Let's talk some bold predictions. I got 5 of them lined up for you guys. And my first one, Kyler Murray, man, I cannot say enough about him, has just been absolutely shredding teams this year. He has really taken that leap. And at this point, I mean, MVP candidate for sure. Front runner probably. I've been pegged for a really big day. 350 yards. And 4 touchdowns total. So between the ground and the air, and between the ground and the air again for touchdowns, Murray he's been lighting it up. I think he has a really good opportunity against a potentially poor offense with San Francisco having Trey Lance start. I could be totally wrong about that, but Trey Lance has shown that he is still a rookie, and he has struggled here and there. He's made really good plays, don't get me wrong, but I think that the 49ers offense might not be as prolific as it has been, and I don't want to say prolific. That might even be an exaggeration of how they've been, but I just don't think it's going to be up to speed yet. Trey Lance, in due time, I think will be a really good quarterback for San Francisco. Don't think he's quite there yet, and I have a feeling that Arizona is going to be able to take advantage of that. The defense on the 49ers is going to struggle because of that, and I really think Murray's going to light it up. Then, second prediction, the Jets. Their defense has been sneakily good, and I don't think a lot of people realize, but they've been breaking in a ton of sacks. I have them giving the Falcons some serious O-line problems today. They're going to be giving them headaches left and right. Expect to see Matt Ryan on the ground a handful of times this week, and I'm pegging them for at least 4+ sacks going up against the Falcons. Take a look at those numbers. The Jets defense, they've been able to get after the quarterback pretty effectively. Despite the fact that they've been struggling, they're only 1-3. The defense has actually been sneakily good. They just got to really put it together now. Coming off a big win against the Titans, should be a good game here in London. Third prediction for the week, and this one is really just indicative of how I feel about how this game is going to go. Bills Chiefs, give me the over on whatever it's going to be. I'm picking that 70+ points that game. Both of these teams are good for 35+ points. I'm pretty sure just this past week they both put up 40 at least. So, I mean, you really can't go wrong with going on the over of this game. If anyone's betting in this one, I would, and I'm not giving betting advice, but I'm just saying I would probably take the over on this one here. For my fourth prediction on the week, this will be probably a shocker for some people, and you know what? I wasn't sure about it, but the more I thought about it, the more I think a storm is a-brewing for this to happen here. I'm going to take the Bengals giving Aaron Rodgers some headaches all game long. I have the Bengals taking at least 2 interceptions off the reigning MVP this week. The Bengals defense has been surprisingly really, really good. They did a decent job trying to fortify that defense throughout the offseason with draft picks and free agent signings, and it has really delivered. I'm a really big fan of how this Bengals defense has been looking, and the Bengals as a team overall has just been so impressive this year, and I think that their defense shows up and shows out today and gives the NFL MVP Aaron Rodgers a little bit of a problem this week. And then for my fifth and final bold prediction on the week, he struggled this past Monday night, but I think he bounces back and has a stellar performance of at least 2 touchdowns, and then we're looking at 295-plus passing yards as well. Derek Carr, I think, bounces back. He's been killing it through the air so far through these first 4 weeks. Stumbled a little bit this past Monday night, but I think he bounces back. He has a good opportunity to this weekend and has a very strong showing and continues to work his way through the season in the conversation of MVP. Now, we have some bold predictions. We've talked some games to watch. Who's winning this week? I think that's probably the biggest question that everyone's wondering. And of course, I got an answer for you guys. I'll pull it up to my left hand here. If you are looking up at the screen right now, I have my record. I'm sitting at 36-29. I almost don't want to say this because I feel like it's going to get jinxed because I'm saying it to you guys, but 5-0 now. 5-0 on Thursday night predictions. My overall record, though, for the season, not looking as pretty. It's 36-29. Couple of weeks where a lot of underdogs are winning. Week 1 and last week, there's a handful of teams I did not expect to win come out with some wins. So, who do I have? If you're listening, obviously if you're watching, you can already see, but if you're listening, we have the Jets taking down the Falcons. I'm taking the Bengals over the Packers. I think that's probably a real tough one to go for, but I might be shooting myself in the foot, but I have a feeling the Bengals are going to show up and show out this week. I got the Vikings over the Lions. Broncos are taking down the Steelers. Buccaneers go over the Miami Dolphins. Give me the Saints. Give me the Panthers. I'll take the Titans as well. I think the Patriots have a shot at winning this week. The Raiders, the Chargers, the Cowboys, the Cardinals. Bills upset the Chiefs this week, Sunday night. Their defense has looked really, really good. I'm a really big fan of what they've got going on. They're finally getting some stuff moving on the ground there with their running game, which was really suspect last year. Defense probably not going to be as impressive as it has been the last 4 weeks, but I think it is still going to be pretty impressive going up against this Chiefs offense. I'm worried about the Chiefs defense. I think the Bills have the Chiefs number this game, and I'm going to take the Bills on that one. And then for the Monday night game, as I mentioned earlier, as a Colts fan, not too excited about the game because I don't think it's really going to go well in our favor. There's been a lot of things that I'm not too thrilled about seeing for the last 4 weeks for my Indianapolis Colts. I'm going to take the Ravens for the win on that one. I expect Lamar Jackson to have a pretty solid night. He has been really just, I hate looking through the internet because people are like, oh, he's a running back. He's a running back. He's a damn good quarterback. And that's all I got to say about Lamar Jackson and the Baltimore Ravens. And also you have a kicker who can apparently just kick from wherever he wants on the field and make it. So not a lot of high hopes as a Colts fan this week. But that is my preview for week 5 of the season. Let me know what I got right and wrong on these predictions. I'd love to talk to you guys about it. Enjoy the rest of your game day. Let me know in the comment section down below, what's the big upset for this week? I have the Bills going over the Chiefs. I have the Bengals going over the Packers. What's the big upset this week? I'm really curious. Would love to hear what you guys think. Have a good rest of your day, everyone. I'll catch you later.